My presentation is about loss and the many things it makes us do. In Sherman Alexie's work, Ten Little Indians short story, Do Not Go Gentle. To give a little bit of introduction, we open up an Indian couple finding out that their baby is suffocating. And one of the first things we read is, my wife and I didn't know Mr. Grief in person until our baby boy got his face stuck in between his mattress and crib and suffocated himself blue. He died 3 times that day, Mr. Grief squeezing his lungs tight, but the muscular doctors and nurses battled that suffocating monster man and brought our boy back to life 3 times. I chose this image because of the picture it signifies about loss. The parents didn't think they were going to lose their child so soon, or nearly losing their child so soon, and there was Mr. Grief standing above the boy in his crib. Here's a quote that shows the battle that the family had trying not to lose their son. Mr. Grief was a billionaire. He could afford to check on our baby every 6 hours, but every 6 hours my wife and I cussed him out and sent him running. The reason I chose this image was because the guy in the green hood signifies how much the family was going up against. They were going against the insurmountable odds against the skeleton, as in signifying Mr. Grief, trying to fend him off to save their son. They did not want to lose their child. Experiencing pain, loss, and the thought of losing a child leads to very dark places. Capturing this quote, it says, when you're hurting, it feels good to hurt somebody else, but you have to be careful. If you get addicted to pain causing, then you start hurting people who don't need hurting. If you turn into a pain delivering robot, then you start thinking everybody looks like Mr. Grief, and everybody deserves a beating. The reason why I chose this picture is because this is what happens whenever you're experiencing that pain, that grief, become isolated. And in this isolation, all the toxic feelings you have get built up, they get stored up within you, and then you become a more toxic person and become that pain delivering robot. During this part of the story, Mr. Grief is in the back of both parents' minds, causing great strife between them. Here's the altercation that happens. One day, when my wife was crying, I swear I saw Mr. Grief hiding behind her eyes, so I yelled and screamed at her and called her all the bad names, but I got really close to her to yell. Because it's more effective to yell when you're closer to your enemy. And I smelled her true scent. I knew it was only my wife inside my wife because she smelled like tenderness, and Mr. Grief smells like a porcupine running dead on the side of the road. This image captures how, during this time, both parents are struggling with the feelings of their emotional turmoil with their son. Loss to this family is exacerbated by hope. This quote says, my wife and I didn't even name our baby. We were Indians and didn't want to carry around too much hope. Hope eats your flesh like a spider bite. But my wife and I loved our little baby X and took turns sitting beside his bed and singing to him. The nurses and doctors let us bring in our hand drums, so we sang powwow songs to our baby. As illustrated in the image, the family, although didn't want to have hope, did completely give up and still sang for their little boy. Now, during this part of the story, two men, unbeknownst to the father's location inside the bathroom, begin to talk bad about a woman who also is experiencing the fear, distress, idea of losing their child. They say, did you see that woman? Asked man number one. You mean the fat one in the sweatpants? Asked man number two. Yeah, can you believe how terrible she looked? I know our kids are sick, but that doesn't mean we have to let ourselves go like that. If you let yourself get ugly on the outside, you're gonna feel even worse on the inside. Yeah, what kids are gonna think when they see you looking so bad? You're gonna be sad. And things are sad enough without having to look at your fat mom wearing ugly sweatpants. I chose this image because it captures how visceral and ugly it gets whenever you experience like this pain of loss. These two men were bonding in a sense of bonding over the fact that they were making fun of the other mother and her idea of pain and loss of the child. The father, overhearing their conversation, begins to think to himself, I almost yelled at them. I wanted to scream at them for being as shallow and dirty as a dog dish. But hell, their kids were dying. What else were they going to do to punish the world for it? A father with a sick child is an angry god. I know I would have earthquake Los Angeles, Paris, and Rome, and kill a million innocent people if it guaranteed my baby boy rise back to his full life. As illustrated in the image, it captures how, in this time of distress and great pain for parents, they would do anything for their child. As the main character is saying, they would kill Rome, they would kill millions of people, of innocent people, just for the child to come back to life. The father, now full with vigor, after hearing the two fathers' conversation, set out to do something about it. He heads to a store And it says, it was called Toys in Babeland, and that was a cute name, so I figured I'd buy some stuffed teddy bears and a rattle, and maybe some of those black and white toys that experts say are good for babies' eyes. Those seem like good toys ideas, but I wasn't sure. What kind of toys do you buy exactly for a coma baby? I walked over to the store and showed in, feeling a religious about my mission. I shocked myself to discover Toys in Babeland was a sex toy store. This image captures how the father, who thought it was a regular toy area, is surprised that the toy store that he went to was not what it seemed. After the father figured out what he wanted to buy and he bought the vibrator at the store, he goes back and it says, maybe it was blasphemous, maybe it was stupid and useless, but we all were sick and tired of waiting for our babies to die. We wanted our babies to live, and we were ready to try anything to help them live. Maybe some people can get by with quiet prayers, but I wanted to shout and scream and vibrate. So did plenty of other fathers and mothers in that sick room. In that image, it shows how nearly every family felt in that moment. They were all filled with dread of their sons and daughters on the bed, not knowing if it was to be their deathbed or not. They wanted to vibrate, like the father said. They wanted to shout. Others wanted to or get by with quiet prayers, but they needed a change that was fueled by their loss, their idea of losing their family. Although it was the husband who bought it, it was the wife who embraced it. He says, it was my wife who grabbed Chocolate Thunder and used it like a drumstick to pound her hand drum. She sang a brand new song that echoed up and down the hallways of Children's Hospital. Every sick and dying and alive and dead kid heard it, and they were happy and good in their hearts. My wife sang the most beautiful song anybody ever heard in that place. She sang like 10,000 Indian grandmothers rolled into one mother. All the while Chocolate Thunder sang with her and turned the whole thing into a healing duet. As symbolized by the picture, everyone in the hospital, all this the grief and pain of loss, they turned it into something good. The wife turned Chocolate Thunder into a symbol of hope, and everyone gathered around. Everybody enjoyed the music. Finally, these are my sources for the images. My sources continued.